got something new today. Got a microphone, which I'm pretty excited to use. I did hear good reviews about this guy, the Audio-Technica AT2020. I hear it's kind of a good starter one to have. Price point at about $100. I do see Guitar Center sometimes putting it on sale, but just a little Christmas gift that I got, which I'm pretty excited to try out, and I'm going to set up here right now with you guys. And then something I ordered on Amazon is a microphone stand. Taking all the parts. Microphone stand to hold the microphone up. I'm pretty excited to record some vocals on this. So when I first started producing music on Ableton, I actually took an introduction to Ableton class, and it was on Skillshare. And I recall one of the videos, the instructor kind of goes over microphone settings so that you don't get any feedback loops, which I'll actually show you guys here in a bit, assuming that it works. Not naturally a singer, didn't take any singing classes, so we'll see what we can record up. So I'm gonna attach this on my desk here. Now, let's set this up. I was really excited when I got this, so. And then one thing you will need for this is an XLR cable to connect to your audio interface. So just FYI for those that are thinking about buying this. So it looks like this guy threads in right here. Got some cable holders right here. It's funny, when I first started, I feel like I saw memes online about it, how you're always needing to carry these type of things and, you know, maybe extra USBs, and it is true, you should always have a couple extra. Another thing I need to get good at is my cable management. It's not the worst, but it can be better. Check, check. Check, 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 check. Hello? Check. 1, 2, 1. Can this hear me? Is this on? All right, I think we're good. So let me just show you my setup here now. Don't mind the mess here, but basically we've got the microphone set up here, and then got it set up to Ableton. And one thing I did want to show you guys is when hooking up a microphone to Ableton, basically easiest way to explain it is you want to have it in off if you're going to be playing it through your monitors. Otherwise, if you have it in or auto, you basically create a feedback loop, which basically, as you're talking to the microphone, audio gets routed through, comes out the speaker, then comes back into the microphone, just creates this basically feedback loop, which can actually damage your speakers, your microphone, and your hearing, which is pretty important. The only time that you really want to use this in setting here is when you're using your headphones, and basically that just allows it to where you can hear, you know, whatever music you have on your headphones as well as your voice, but then that way the audio doesn't get routed through the speakers and hence back to the microphone. In if you're using headphones, off if you're going to be playing through your monitors. One thing I'm trying to figure out, and I'm hoping maybe some of you might have the answer to, is on the UAD console. So I have the Apollo right here, and to try to prevent any talkback through the monitor, you know, outside of Ableton, I saw online on the settings how you should have this, I think, off. I can't seem to be able to toggle this off or on to begin with. Right now, if I, tap it, I can hear audio through the speakers, but I am just trying to keep keep it away just to, be safe there. But if any of you have any answers to that, let me know. And that's kind of it, my update for today. Kind of exciting stuff. I've been really excited to get this microphone, and stay tuned for some vocals. So another thing I did today is I was preparing content for the week. Basically was able to, take a long video and break it down into, 6 of them, just so I can kind of have them scheduled out for the weeks. Did also want to show you my wife is also a DJ. Say hi, babe. And she has a New Year's show coming up, and so she's kind of preparing for that. I just get to have a sneak peek of it. Okay, so I'm pretty close with wrapping up a project that was working on this month. Just kind of wanted to show you something cool here, so check it out. I have this track called Dear Me, and for this outro section here, I was really pushing the decay envelope here on Diva. The main drop itself, it's very mellow, but then it builds up, so check this out. Pushing right there. The cutoff is doing like a sweep. It's kind of my automation lines right there for the filter cutoff, and right here is my decay. Really has that outro feel like a breath of fresh air. I honestly wasn't expecting for that to happen. I had made notes of some more improvements I wanted to make on the production of this, but I really wasn't expecting that to happen. So for the track that I'm pretty much near the end of for this one, I actually tried this method out. Shout out to my buddy Jim on Instagram. Basically, I got to a point where I felt pretty close to being done with the production of this one. And then I kind of gave it like a couple days break, just to have some fresh ears. And then I re-listened to the track, this time without looking at the DAW. And I did one full listen, just plain up listening as if, I was listening to the song brand new. But then the second go around, I took a listen again, and I actually took some notes. And I was really critiquing my work, like, where did it feel boring? Where could it benefit from something? Where was there too much of everything going on? One other thing I'm doing here as I'm preparing for the mix down is I'm basically re-listening to this section here, because it does get really intense, and so I'm trying to pinpoint what elements aren't even needed because I can't even tell that they're there. All right, and so now we're gonna move on to the mixing process, and the first thing I need to do is find some reference tracks, because I want the track I'm working on right now to kind of sound similar but not the same. I'm gonna go on my DJ deck here, and I'm just gonna try to find some songs that kind of have that same kind of vibe as the track I'm working on. As I'm starting the mix of my song, I try to get my low end right, and one thing I noticed right off the bat is my kick. While my kick does sound good, when I compared it to my reference tracks and I compared it to 3, it wasn't quite reaching those levels that I was aiming for. Basically, I was looking at the kick and bass of all 3 of my reference tracks, and I took an average of that. I took my readings on Span and Vision 4X to kind of see where those kick and bass levels are peaking, and then I took an average of that. The kick I have currently on this track, I'd say it's about 4 decibels too quiet, and so at this point I can either keep going with it, because the kick does sound good, but what I'm thinking of doing is just spending like a half hour here and maybe finding some other kick samples that sound pretty good, and seeing how those stack up. Kind of an extra step that I'm wanting to take. And if it just so happens that I just can't find a kick that doesn't sound quite as good as the one I have, then we're just gonna go with this one. And let me show you actually what I'm using right now for my kick. So from PML, Production Music Live, they have a free kick suite rack, which basically looks like that right there. And you can actually select what kind of kicks you want here with this kick selector. And it kind of scrolls through these samples here. Let me show you what I mean. I'll actually play just the kick by itself. So press play. That's the current kick that I got. But again, I could scroll with this guy, and it kind of scrolls through those kicks right there. I don't really like any of these other kick samples that they give me, so what I'm thinking of doing is I'm actually going to look for a couple kick samples and replace some of these, and then just kind of do a quick hearing test first, like which one sounds right for the track, and then I'll actually take my measurements then and see if I can find a better sample. Okay, so I found a few more kick samples, but man, I got one that's getting me the right numbers that I'm looking for. It just doesn't sound quite right. It feels out of place with the whole track. Let me kind of show you what I mean here. Sounds pretty decent, right? We'll hear it. But now let's kind of hear it in context with the whole track. It just, I'm not really liking that click, that initial click. Just kind of sounds out of place with the whole track. Whereas the kick I like, kick number 4 here, I'll just, boom, go there. It's a little more subtle, right? And while on span, it's not really getting me the numbers I'm looking for. I think I'm just gonna go with it and just kind of adjust my bass, my sub bass as needed. I know it's kind of one of those funny debates where you're trying to find the right kick and you're spending hours, and you know, I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna trust my ears on this. I'm not gonna, you know, it's not an exact science where I need to get that kick, you know, right at the levels that I need it. At the end of the day, if it sounds good, then it's good. And good morning. You know, right now the camera's a little grainy, but I was just listening to that mix last night, and the kick just sounded way too thumpy there. So I think I'm just gonna change the kick to something a little softer. It sounded good initially when everything was kind of gain stage down, but as I started gain staging everything, yeah, no, that kick just stands out way too much. And I just don't think it's anything that an EQ is going to be able to fix. Everything else sounded pretty good. It was, honestly, it was really hard to tell because that kick was just so distracting. All right, so we're getting pretty close here to the end of the night. It is Tuesday night. I am pretty tired today just because I didn't sleep well last night. But, you know, we're just going to power through it. I have been having a goal of doing 1 track a month, and that's producing it, mixing and mastering it. Ideally later on down the road, as I get more efficient with my time, I would like to, you know, maybe make 2 tracks a month. 3 might be pushing it. You know, mixing and mastering is a whole separate skill. And while I can outsource that, that's just something that right now that I want to try to learn on my own. Later on down the road, if that's something I decide I want to do, then, you know, so be it. But like I said, I'm really tired today. We're just gonna push through it. The current track that I'm kind of wrapping up this month, I'm feeling pretty good about the production. The mixing and mastering, unfortunately, I'm only gonna have 2 days to work on it. I would like more time, but just with the holidays and stuff, it was really hard to find time this month. But we're still getting there. So without further ado, let's see what we can do in an hour. All right, and we are at time. So I was able to get my kick and bass kind of sounding good. I got the low end mix pretty good there. And then I basically just did a fader down mix with this track. I'll probably try to give it another jab tomorrow. I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. After that, I'll just master it because tomorrow is the last day of the month and the last day of the year. So, yeah, there's that. I'll have to show you guys soon what I got finished up here. I'm actually pretty happy with it, especially the outro. So, anyways, I'm tired. I'm going to bed.